what are these words in English? Contribution? Is it okay, just a contribution, is it really contribution? Just for example, just itu apa? Contribution. It's not really, right? It is, but it's not really, right? What about the other words? No? Okay, that's fine. Maybe these are too difficult for you, okay? Okay, let's take a look at some of the words, but these words are not in English. Okay, and some of these words they are very basic English, simple ones. For example, like is, are. So can you tell me what are these words in Malay?
Satu main tiga, sound check 1, 2, 3.
Yalah, you sure? Is it really? Maybe, but is it really then? That's alright. Some parts of the session. Alright, so as you can see, these two words, okay, these two languages, not all of the words that we know, okay, they have like direct translation or direct to the other language. For example, like home. What is home in Malay? Are you sure? For example, okay, you are in your house. Okay, this is my house, but it is also my home. It has a different meaning, right? But what is that meaning in Malay? Can you find a word for that? No. So as you can see, some of these words, okay, we cannot like directly translate them into the other language. All right. So which brings us to the topic of my study, which is the use of L1 in the use of L1 in F2, okay, classrooms. Okay, specifically I was looking at the ESL teachers and also CLEAR. Okay, I'm going to explain on these two terms later. Okay, so but what I was focusing on was on the functions and use. So what are the functions and use that for L1 usage in F2 classrooms? Okay. So very briefly, background of the study. Okay, so this study is conducted in Malaysia. If you don't know yet, okay, Malaysia, we have like based on the data of 2010, I think it could be still applicable, maybe, I don't know. Okay, it was 23.8 million multi-ethnic population in Malaysia. Okay, and the languages that we have in Malaysia are Malay, Chinese, dialects, Indian languages, and also English. Okay, and also the Ministry of Education has stated in formal documentation that English will be as a compulsory subject, not formally, for 11 years. Okay, and if you take a look at government initiative, the PPSMI, it was like this. PPSMI was way back in 2000, early 2000s. Okay, but and also if you know PPSMI, it is very much like CLEAR. Okay, more explanation on this will be later. Okay, and there's also this DLP program, which is currently being implemented by the government, by the Education Ministry. DLP stands for Dual Language Program. Okay, under the MPMNI. Okay, policy. Okay, more on this later. Okay. So first of all, let's take a look at the definition of ESL here. As you know, ESL is English as a second language. Okay, according to the Economic Planning Unit Malaysia, okay, the third Malaysian plan, okay, recognized ESL to be taught as the nation's second language. So it has been like formally written in our documentation that English should be recognized to be taught as a second language in all of the formal institutions in Malaysia. Okay, and also strict ESL teachers. Due to this, strict ESL teacher training and selection has been implemented and since 2012. Next is the PPSMI. Okay, it means teaching of mathematics and science in English. Okay, so this is very much like CLEAR. CLEAR is content and language integrated learning. So the concept of PPSMI is like you teach subjects like physics, chemistry, mathematics, or calculus. Okay, everything will be taught in English. So the concept of clear is very much the same as PSMI. Okay, so it was implemented more than a decade ago, but abolished due to some reasons. Okay, and then after the abolishment of that implementation, major exams was conducted in 2 languages. Okay, Malay and English. So then, now, there's this new policy to uphold Bahasa Malaysia and to strengthen the English language, MBM-MI. Okay, and this specifically is being executed through this program, dual language program. Okay. And this is background of the study, the institution. Okay, this was written as anonymous in my study. Okay, but since you know, all of you are here, okay, this was conducted here, okay, in Intec, okay, and this college, okay, Intec, if you don't know yet, okay, this college is surrounded by 65.5% Malay community, and yes, I think this you know already, okay. Okay, and the students, a majority Malay, I'm not sure about it now, is it still? Majority Malay, okay, still Excel, are there excellent students now? Maybe. You don't have to answer, it's fine. Okay, and the lecturers are also majority of Malay with teaching certification. Okay, why I'm emphasizing on Malay? Because it's important for this study because we are looking at L1. So all of these participants, they have to share the same L1, which is Malay. Okay, so that's why this particular information is important. Okay, so statement of the problem. Okay, most of us, if not all, okay, we have this like maybe internal dilemma, okay, or conflict, okay, whereby should we teach everything in only in English, or can we also include a little bit of L1? Okay, so there's been 2 approaches, okay, popular approaches. The first is monolingual approach, and second is bilingual. Monolingual is exclusively use L2, okay, or in this case English, okay, in the classroom. Okay, so there are people who are on this side, but there are also a lot of people, okay, a lot of studies academicians who are on the bilingual approach, okay, which they believe could be used, which they believe L1 or the first language could be used as a learning tool. And there's also statistics by not only Malaysia, okay, but also the countries in the Western countries. They also believe that the use or the inclusion of L1 could be beneficial for their L2 classrooms. Okay. Oh wait, hold on. Before I proceed, why this is important for this study is that this is related to the struggle that we have in our education policy, especially in the teaching of English, and especially to improve our nation's English proficiency. So, which is better for the education system to follow? Should we follow this approach or that approach? So that is the yes, the problem. Yes. Okay. So anyway, this study, my study was not to prove which approach is better. Okay, because everyone has their own opinion, and this study was not to prove which is better, but it is to provide new empirical evidence, okay, and to deepen our understanding, and also hopefully it could improve the teacher training in Malaysia, not only in Malaysia as a whole, but also specifically in institutions, training institutions, all right? And also there has not been a study on this set in Malaysia, conducted in Malaysia. Okay, there are a lot of studies on this, but none in Malaysia yet. Okay, there are some. They look only on the use of first language and second language classrooms, but they don't compare. Okay, they don't compare between ESL and CLIL teachers. Okay, which is the focus of the study. Okay, we are going very formal here. I hope it's fine. Okay, but you can stop me if you want, but I hope you don't. Okay. Next, okay, this is very briefly my theoretical framework. Okay, so my study is based on these 2. The first one is multilingual competence. Okay, so multilingual competence, they believe that it is rational to use L1 in L2 classrooms because they believe this existence of 2 languages, or at least 2 languages in a person's mind, okay, is permanent. Okay, you cannot just take away one language for a certain time and then put it back again after that. No, it's impossible. For them, L1, first language, is permanent. So why should teachers only use L2, where they can use L1 to assist the learning of L2? Okay, so that is multilingual competence. And another framework that I followed was socio-linguistic perspective. Okay, from this perspective, it says that it is regular code switching. Okay, code switching means the switching between languages. Okay, it's common. Okay, it is common and it has certain effects and certain meanings behind those switches. Okay, so that is my theoretical framework. Okay, but there are a lot more if you want to talk about studies. There are a lot of studies that look into L1 and L2. Okay, as you can see. Okay, but I'm not going to spend much time on this one. But I would like to focus on this by Abdul Majid and Satar, because all of this was done in Malaysia. I think it is in UKM, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so it was found that this study is not basically about teaching. This is about the student. Okay, the teacher allowed the student. There were two groups. Okay, one group student they did writing. Okay, so they brainstormed in Malay and the other brainstormed in English. So it turned out to be the ones who brainstormed in Malay in the L1, and one they produced better English essay because they produced a lot more ideas. So it's very interesting. Okay, so basically all of these studies they prove that they have the evidence that L1 can somehow benefit the students in L2 learning. Okay, and also there's a CLIL, okay, down here by Low. Okay, also believes that L1 can help a lot in teaching physics and mathematics subjects back in his institution. Okay, so in what way? It's very similar to mine. Later I will share with you. So these are the three questions that for my study. So first, I looked at the functions and use of L1 only from the teacher's L2 speech, not from the students. Okay, due to certain constraints. Okay, so also I looked at the differences in L1 practices between ESL and CLIL teachers, and also I looked at the attitudes, teachers' attitudes towards the use of L1. So the data, audio recorded, and then semi-structured interview, and then the participants were 8 teachers, okay, from a private college in Malaysia, which is Intec. Okay, 5 ESL, 3 CLIL, all female. And all of them share the same L1 Malay and L2 English. They're mixed academic background. Okay, bachelor and master. They are trained and certified. They have teaching experience, and also they were teaching first semester students. If I'm not mistaken, hopefully it's true. I think it's true. Anyway, okay. I believe it was true. Okay, so this was basically the procedure of my data collection. So first I observed the classrooms, okay, audio recorded. So 3 sessions each teacher, 2 hours each session, so approximately 48 hours overall. Okay, overall? Yes, overall. And then transcription of ESL and CLIL, and then I transcribe everything into and then I will show you how I transcribe it later. And then I did a semi-structured interview with all the teachers after they have finished all of the sessions, recording sessions. So these are the transcriptions, how I transcribe. Okay, so I looked at the surrounding context. Okay, the surrounding context, what's happening in the classroom. And then for the English phrases, I would just type it normally. And also I take note of the pseudonyms. And Malay translations, okay, of course I have to translate some words into Malay, or no, some Malay words into English, so I use that italics and brackets. Later you will see how I do it. Okay, and the Malay words spoken by the teachers were bolded in the transcription. Okay, taken from lecture and daily Okin. So how I code the data. Okay, so then these are 6 themes, okay, provided by Green. Okay, so I followed this. There were a lot more, but this was the most recent that I could find during the time. The meta-linguistic explanation, task instruction, discipline, empathy, solidarity, immediate translation, and delayed translation. More on this later. Okay, so this is how I analyze it. Transcribe first, highlight relevant info, and then put them into themes. Okay, so the findings and the discussion. So what I found was meta-linguistic explanation. If you don't know what this is about knowledge of the language itself. Okay, so for example, did the teachers explain about one particular grammar item, or why that word is that way, or why is that sentence structure that way? So the grammatical part of the language. Okay, so the knowledge about the language itself. So this is a common finding in the previous studies. However, when in my study, none was found. Okay, none of the teachers, ESL or CLEAR, they did not mention anything on. They didn't have anything on meta-linguistic explanation. Okay, this could be maybe because from the interview as well. Okay, to relate, they believe that the students' ideas and understanding of the content is much more important than the structure of the language itself. Okay, so the meaning comes first for them. Okay, so that is how they can see, or they can identify whether their students have really understood what they taught. Okay, and then also the teachers may not have the confidence in their meta-linguistic knowledge. Okay, this is not. This is some of the teachers, they mentioned this in their interview, that they did not have the confidence to talk about the language itself. Okay, because bear in mind, this is not only ESL teachers. This is also CLEAR teachers. They know, sometimes they know how it works, but they cannot really explain why it is that way. So that is what I meant. Okay. Next is task instruction. Okay, task instruction, as you can see, ESL, they use Malay, okay, to maybe when they during writing essay outline, during class activities, and when to emphasize of what not to do in assignments. So these are just these are pseudonyms. Okay, I use some other names. Okay. Okay, so that we don't know who it is. Okay, so this is like an example. So nak jaga hati, for example. Okay, so it is to be polite. So this is how the teachers use Malay just to emphasize on the instruction or what the task is about. Okay, and the same goes to CLEAR teachers. Tengok ni. So this is maybe that it can be doing engineering drawing, task answering method, or action. So basically this one is for actions. Okay, just to emphasize on what kind of action that the students should do for that particular time. So there are a lot more examples, but they're all in my thesis, which I can share later if you want. Okay, and I can give a copy to you. I don't mind. So anyway, look at this. Okay, students did not understand the aim of the lesson, so that's why these teachers they turn to the first language, because when they saw that the students did not understand the aim of the lesson or the activity. Okay, so they turn to the first language, and then maybe there were some presence of unfamiliar words in the instruction itself. Okay, that's why L1 was used. Okay. Next is class management or discipline. So basically this is off-task behavior. Okay, and for ESL during classroom discussion, especially, as you can see, okay, class cepatlah. Okay, so this is to emphasize, okay, to be disciplined in the class, to follow what has been instructed. The same goes to CLEAR. Okay, but CLEAR was more on emphasizing time. Okay, 2 minutes more. 2 minutes. How many other minutes? Okay, so this an off-task behavior. This is like off-task behavior. This is like an example of time. Okay, there are more. I have a lot more of that, but just these two is fine, I think. Okay, so these teachers, they use L1 for this particular team, class management discipline, because they felt that it is more effective and rapid, okay, rather than to use English. And also, the sudden use of L1 had more impact. Okay, they saw that it has more impact towards the students. Okay, awareness, of course, for that particular class or lesson. And next is empathy and solidarity. Okay, this is as you can see through compliments, jokes, idioms, and analogies, comforting words, showing concern. So these are all. Malay was also used to share some personal emotions. Okay, you want to transfer your emotions. You want the students to be comfortable with you. So Malay was used as well. Okay, so why? The reason, these are some of the focus on the discussion. Okay, because L1 was believed to be closer to the student's heart. Okay, improve rapport and positive, and it can create positive learning atmosphere. Okay, yes. Okay, moving on very quickly. Okay, immediate translation. We have two, but immediate translation here means the teacher use Malay right after an English word or phrase. Okay, without giving time for the students to think. Okay, for example, like this one. So, what is the key point? Apakah kata kuncinya? So, there was no time in between for the students to actually answer, okay, or to think. Okay, so this is immediate translation, and the same goes to this clear teacher. You will get the same answer, sama je. So, okay, so this is okay. This could be due to the teacher's fear of communication breakdown, because sometimes when you ask, okay, so what is key point? Okay, so communication breakdown, and maybe the teacher might fear that the students might lose his focus. Okay, so that's why immediate translation was used for that particular time, and mostly it involved cognates. Cognates here means beginner words, beginner English words. Okay, for example, like this key point. Okay, but sometimes there were also a few instances. Like I said, mostly not all. Okay, because there are some instances the teacher used very specific jargon. Okay, to just directly translate. Okay. Okay. Next is, as you can see, delayed translation. This is the opposite as immediate. This, the teacher gave some time for the teacher to think, for the students to think and respond. Okay. So what is hamba in English? Yes, the answer is lame. Yes. Okay. So, and this one, change in demand because of she. What is she? No one answers. Okay, even though no one answers, but the teacher gave some time for the students to think, to respond. But unfortunately, there was no answer. So the teacher gave the answer to them. All right. So this is, as you can see, this is more pedagogically more sound than immediate translation because of the time. Okay, because of the teacher allows for some response. Okay, and then the students, which makes the students able to process the understanding, and the teacher can clarify and identify whether the students have really really understand what the teacher is teaching. Right, right. Okay. Next is This is not in any of the previous studies findings. Okay, this theme was emerged in my finding. There was explanation of terms and situations. Okay, this theme, it was found in Lowe's. Okay, the study on clear, but that study only mentioned that L1 only used on subject content or terms. Okay, however, when I did my study here, not only on terms, but there were also like situations. Okay, where Malay was used. Okay, for example, as you can see, on situations. Okay, like ESL. Okay, cowok is the name of the teacher. Is explaining the ending of a story, because I believe this course has like a lot of short stories to discuss and to reflect on. Okay, so explaining the ending of the story to the students, which are the students were analyzing. Okay, and then as you can see, and for some reason only now, so this is more on emotions. Okay, to explain the situation, the situation of that particular author or that particular character in the story was going through. Okay, so maybe the use of Malay was needed or necessary from that teacher's perspective to transfer the emotions to the students so that the students can understand and relate to their story. Okay, and on terms, as you can see here, from a clear teacher, Gani, if we have Gani here, okay, normal force, tu dah berkurangan, satu pergi dekat cos, satu pergi dekat sin. So this is to emphasize, okay, the terms, okay, or how it works, okay, how this particular formula works. Okay, so this is to ensure basically the students could follow the pace of the lesson, because all of the students, they have their own pace. Okay, so and these teachers, they said that they cannot expect that all of the students can follow their pace. Maybe some they are good students, they can follow the teacher's pace, but some they need a little bit more push. Okay, and maybe that push is not from an English medium, maybe the use of Malay. And also this can assist students in making connection of ideas, as you can see, to connect one idea to another. Alright? And secondly, this is a large theme that emerged during the study. This was not also mentioned in any of the studies that I referred to. Okay, clarification. Okay, clarification basically is very simple. It's to clarify. Okay, so like ESL, siapa this author? So it's very simple words. There are very simple words for clarification. As you can see, if you take a look at clear as well. 17 berapa, so simple word. Okay, so if you take a look at this, maybe the teacher said the use of this, okay, when they use to clarify, when they use Malay to clarify, it is more time saving. Okay, because time is also the essence, for all of the teachers. Okay, because they do not have a lot of time to explain one thing over and over again, and also they say that they mainly use clarification for simple words, which do not carry a lot of significance content, right? Okay, for my second RQ, there's a question. I look at the differences. Okay, just very briefly, there are three themes, okay, which I found the differences between ESL and clear teachers. First is task instruction. ESL use, if you can still remember task instruction just now, only ESL teachers only use Malay for class activities, whereby clear teachers, they use Malay for actions. Okay, maybe because due to the requirement of the subject itself. Okay, because ESL, they have a lot of activities which has a lot of words, difficult words for them, for the students to understand. And clear, they have a lot of exercises, exam preparation, so more actions, right? So class management or discipline, discussion, and time management. As I said, time management, maybe due to clear, they focuses more on exercises, practices in class. So time management is very, very important. And for this ESL discussion I think is maybe is like maybe 70% of the class of the lesson is discussion. So maybe that's why. And also ESL for explanation of film situation, they use Malay to convey emotions. They use Malay to exaggerate on certain things. Okay. As for clear, they use Malay for scientific terms and concepts like what I have presented just now. And lastly, for my third research question is looking at the teacher's attitude, okay, on the use of L1 in L2 classroom. So these are the three main themes for this particular finding. Okay, first is the reasons for L1 use. Some of them say that it is to aid comprehension, to increase motivation and build rapport. So these are the reasons, basically the reasons why they use L1. And the methods, okay, they have, even though they use L1 or Malay, all of them, they have different methods, okay, which can be categorized into three, which are immediate use, okay, because it is more time saving. And there's also teachers which use English first, and then if the student did not understand, he would see the person, the student in person and explain in simple English if still cannot understand any Malay. But there's also a teacher which used Malay first at the beginning of the semester to familiarize the students with the concepts or terms of the subject. And then after, maybe it was maybe after third week or middle of the semester, everything was taught in English. Okay, so they have different methods of implementation of using L1. Okay, and then lastly is the conflict between perceived needs of learners and institution. So even though it is all of them, or maybe not all, okay, they believe that L1 could assist them, could help them, but they have this particular conflict, okay, personal conflict, because they know that the students' needs and institutions' needs or requirement, these two are very important. Okay, so first is to look at understanding versus memorization. So which is more important for them? For them, it's like they have this dilemma whether to make sure the student really understand the subject or to memorize it and proceed with another topic. Okay, so and then students' future needs. Okay, especially in Intec, since everyone is going or the students were going overseas. Okay, so they have to also consider the future needs of the students, which English is very, very important for them to survive there in the country. Okay, and also the institution's reputation, where English is the medium of communication. So this put pressure on the teachers, which bring us back to the first dilemma, understanding or memorization. Okay, and then if they also have this fear of being portrayed as an incompetent teacher if they use a lot of Malay, where the intention of them using Malay is to help the students, but they fear that intention was being misinterpreted by some other teachers, for example, or maybe the students themselves. Okay. So just to conclude everything, okay. So the themes, nothing on meta-linguistic, okay, and also two emerging themes, okay, which are explanation of terms and situations and also clarification. And the differences only on these three themes: task instruction, classroom management, and discipline, and also explanation of terms and situations. And to conclude the teachers' attitudes, all of them, they were positive about using L1. Okay, in their L2 classroom. However, they have to be careful to not give a bad impression as a teacher. And also, they felt more motivated to use L1 judiciously. Judiciously means with considerate judgment. Okay, when to use L1. So, yeah. Okay. Last slide. Okay. 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 Having said everything about this study. There were also some limitations. Okay, first is unbalanced number of ESL and field teachers. I tried to get a balanced number, but it was quite difficult during that time due to like exams and everyone has like certain things they have to do. So this is a limitation because I believe if I had a balanced number, the data would be more valid. Okay. Okay, I was unable to personally observe or video record the classroom sessions. So I don't know how the classes went. Actually, how they were like really used Malay. How did the students react? I mean, not only one student, but the whole classroom. Okay, so I was unable to do this. Okay, so this was a limitation. I asked, but most of the teachers, they did not prefer to be recorded or for me to be in the classroom because they believe that would disrupt their whole teaching and learning process. Okay, and it would not be a natural one. Okay, so anyway, some suggestions is to include student speech. Okay, for further research, and also maybe a more longitudinal experimental research to look at whether monolingual or bilingual approach is more beneficial in the long run. Okay, so I believe that's that. The end. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention. Yes. Any questions from the floor? Any questions? Yes.
Let me backtrack based on what you presented earlier. You said there was a study done at UPM.
Oh, yes, UPM.
Yes,
Yes.
on the brain brainstorming session
Yes, yes.
between two different groups of those who actually did brainstorm in Malay and then those who did in English.
Yes.
And then you said that the fact that those who did in Malay did well in writing
Yes.
compared to the others.
Yes.
But what is the justification for saying that?
Oh,
What is the evidence?
okay, in the study, it was a one semester study. Okay, so these students were separated from the beginning of the semester, and then they had to go this this course, and then by the end of for that particular task, okay, these students they were allowed in Malay and these students only in English. So they used like exams, okay, where the final essay is being examined by lecturers or teachers, but not only teachers, but also second markers. Okay, and that study also mentioned that the average of those students, okay, I was talking about average, okay, just to make clear, the average of those students who did the brainstorm in Malay, they got higher marks than those who did the essay in English, who did the brainstorm in English. So that evidence was taken from the marks of the essays, or the final essays of the brainstorming session. Just the average of the marks of the the two groups. Okay? Yes. Any other questions?
What is your stance on this technique of teaching?
Okay. To be honest, I was more of a monolingual person. Okay, but after reading a lot of studies on this particular topic, I believe that L1 also, people change. I changed. So I believe L1 could be also used in classroom. Okay, but not just simply use them, but with, like I said, judicious, after considering judgment of the situation. Because we teachers, of course, all English would sound ideal in an English class or in any classes. But then we have to do some reality checks here, okay? Because we have to abide by the time. Okay, we also have some other commitment. There are some other requirements of the course that we need to, we need to fulfill. So due to these reasons, I believe L1 or Malay can be used to, there are a lot of other benefits that Malay can help us teachers here, especially maybe in Malaysia. Yeah, that's what I want. What do you think? Can I ask a question? Yeah. What do you think? What about you?
Coming from the old school of thought, I would rather go for L1.
Yes.
Oh, sorry,
L2. Okay. Why so? Why so?
Because I believe that if you are an English teacher, you're supposed to teach in English, and the subject is to be taught in English, and if the emphasis on the medium of instruction is English, obviously it has to be the competency of the lecturers, the teachers, the fluency. So when you teach, you've got to also project a good image of good English teacher as far as fluency and accuracy is concerned. So if you use a lot, I'm not sure really the concept now. If you use a lot of the elements of the use of L1, it depends on the frequency of the use of L1. I'm just afraid that when it comes to student translate and think in Malay, which translate English, that can also lead to direct translation.
Right.
And especially when it comes to writing, it becomes very, very awkward.
Yes. Yes, I understand your belief, your principle, because like I said, there's always these two groups of teachers, the ones with bilingual, who are more on bilingual approach, those who are on monolingual approach. Okay, but like I said, when you want to give a teacher, okay, a level or a good, or what is a good teacher, what is not a good teacher, the use of L1 and L2, I don't think that should be the criteria, because that really depends on your principle of teacher. Because like I said, understanding versus memorization. Okay, maybe the students at that time they memorize those words, but do they really understand? Maybe these are the concerns of the teachers in my study, because they concern that the students did not really understand in the long run, because they just memorize. So in the future they might be in problems. So maybe they try to use Malay just to make sure they understand it first. Because like I said, these teachers, they did not use Malay, simply use Malay whenever they want. They use Malay at certain times. Okay, because the use of, like I said, we teachers, we have a lot of things to consider in class. Okay, and one of the things is, like I said, which is your priority. So I'm not saying that which is better. Like I said, the study is not to show which is better. Okay, but it's just for us to order, and also maybe to improve on our teacher training. And also we have to consider, I'm not sure about Intec, but how many students are you teaching in a class? Oh, no less than 20. Okay, but during this time, the classes were like 20-ish or 30. Okay, 20-ish or 30. So it was difficult for the teacher really to make sure the understanding of all of the students. Okay, so certain students, they need a different approach. Like I said, okay, some students, when the teacher explained in English, they could understand. But some students, they need a little bit of a different approach. So that's when L1 comes in. That's what I think. But this is just opinions. Okay, it's up to you as individual teachers, right? Okay, something for you to ponder. Maybe you can improve your teacher training in Intec, and because not only teaching is not only about the teachers. Teaching is also about the students. So which is more beneficial for the students? We have to think about that as well. Okay, I know we have all of us, we have a reputation, okay, of using English. Yes, that is our priority. But as I said, L1 to be used to assist, not to teach those classes in L1. Okay, just to make it clear. Okay, I'm not pushing for L1 classes, alright? I'm pushing for L1 to assist. Okay, maybe for a different approach. Okay, rather than you explain over and over again, right? For example. Thank you for the questions. Any other questions? Or if we really have the time, okay, if you know, maybe I'll pass the mic to the chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you so much, AFIQ. Did it make you wonder about your own teaching in class? Okay, whether you use only English or mixed with Malay, and I hope there's no totally Malay in class, right? Okay, but before that, I would like to apologize. I totally forgot to officially welcome and greet Madam Rizila just now for being here. It shows how nervous I am to have our big boss over here, but yeah, welcome Madam Rizila. Okay, so back to L1 and L2. I used to be like, to have the same perception as Mr. Sham, where I think I should only use English. Even now, I think I only use English. Even during brainstorming, I told them if you don't brainstorm in English, you don't have the vocab to write in your essay. But knowing that research, maybe I should try to have a research of my own in class. Half of them brainstorm in English, half of them brainstorm in Malay. And I might have my own findings later. And secondly, like I said, I only use English in class, 100%. Even outside of class, I told them, if you read me, if you grade me, text me, you should only use English. But starting to teach English for admin class last semester and this semester, I cannot use that approach. I realize I cannot use that approach. I cannot use English 100% all the time in class. Because it's quite hard for me to communicate and to make them respond to me. So again, people change. I have changed now. I also believe that yes, L1 can definitely assist me in my class. Thank you very much, AFIQ. Okay, now I would like to welcome the lovely ladies over here to present us and to share their experience of having done trainings in Mumbai.
Mohd. So we're going to share about our experience in Mumbai. So, Namaste. मेरा नाम है कपूर. I'm going to use a little bit of outreach.
Norjannah. So your LP is Hindi now?
Yes. Okay, so to open our presentation, this is very thrill experience to us. So auto. Three wheels transportation is very easy to access and it's very cheap. It's very cheap. It's like 100 rupees now. Okay. No, it's not one ringgit. It's 60 cents. 60 cents, yes. The activities of this training is to exchange ideas, skill, and experience with the teachers, mostly teachers in India. They are not lecturers; they're just teachers, but very experienced teachers in teaching theory. And to strengthen our teaching strategies, which probably we could implement here in Intec, and to build networking with the school and teachers in India. So I will explain further what is our based on our objective. So we had a training at Katan International School. It's about 2 days training. So we depart on 3rd of July and come back on 4th of July. 3, 4, no. We depart on 1st of July. Still in Mohd, and it was a chaos. Subject involved for this training is physics, chemistry, biology, and accounting. So we are the only foreigners in every courses of training. Next. So this is our trainers, Mr. Stephen Adams, Mr. David Matendil, Miss Alice Hardy, and Miss Ian Smith. And this is the schedule. So we really did make ourselves reach the training venue. Kita memang sampai sini. Kurang beza. Alright. So this is one of the trainers for accounting, and this is the head master of the school, right? Okay. Next. Some of the facilities in the school that we managed to capture is the computer laboratory. It's very nice and clean. It's very convenient places, that school. Although the outside of the school is like two different worlds. Okay, next. This is the science laboratory. That is physics lab, and this is chemistry lab. It's a very small lab because they have a small number of students. But as you can see, it's nice, tidy, and I like this lab. Just like our lab have so many stuff. Okay, next.
Okay, so hi. So actually, we should grateful that our Intec use the electrical microscope. So this is the microscope that we use in training. That we have to find the sunlight. Okay, sunlight. So and the first time when I looked the microscope, I said, oh, how to use this one? I never used this. So this teacher teach me how to manage this microscope. So we have to find the cells and so on by getting the light from the sunlight. Yes, during paper 3 they use this yes, and the exam. So if they count, if there is like a blue day, so I don't know how they manage to answer the paper 3 question. Okay, so this is A-level students, all the A-level students in Digiketan. And this is the achievers on the road because they have different level from the grade 1 until the 11th grade, okay, until A-level. Okay, this is teachers. This is from chemistry and biology. This is all the teachers. Physics, sorry, and this is for account. So this is only the diets that we have for the first day. This is our meal, but for second day, oh my god, memang tak boleh makan because like for example in one plate there is if our foods we have a mixture like a salt, sweets and so on. But for their diets, like for example nasi ni garam, nasi ni this one is masin, this is manis, this one is masam. So I don't know how to makan. Right. So this is our training outcomes. The first one is review the syllabus and curriculum framework design. And the second one, if there is a major updates on our syllabus, they will let us know on this training. And understand this training is more like how to plan, how to create or how to develop the lesson plan that we never been done here. So I think we have to create by the student ability. Because in the Digiketan and the person in charge, the trainers, they said that we have to create the lesson plan based on the student ability. How a student should get, how the student should get, how the student should get. Okay, and then they teach us how to create a scheme of work and then curricular resources. And in Mumbai, if let's say one week or one day only 1 hour spent for biology, 1 hour spent for the physics, so they do not have enough time to have the activity in class. So normally they get to use the flipped classroom. Okay, so there is a lot of the approaches in the teaching and learning.
Okay, so on the training day, okay, trainers emphasize on not just rely on questions from the past years. If you notice, past years is kind of different from what we have from the paper that we have recently. And they encourage us to use paper from Cambridge PU. As you can see there, for Cambridge Advanced, we have Cambridge International AS and A-Level, and then Cambridge PU. Okay, so this is one of the things that the trainers share with us. And we can also use questions from other examination board. Okay, so basically the trainers try to tell us do not rely too much on past questions. And then register in teacher forum. So this is the platform.
It's just a simple step to register and get involved in the teacher forum because you can post questions in there and there will be a continuous series of discussions. And the trainer, basically the trainer that trainers that day will answer most of the questions. So it would be very beneficial to us. Okay, please register to community or forum discussion. Okay.
Okay, so next. So this is all the apps that I got from the training that we can use Farah in our biology class. So this is especially for the hearts, and this one is for respiratory. And there's a lots of animation that we can use and we can explain to the student. Maybe if we have their own iPads, we can download it and we can use in the class. So like for example, how to process and so on. Okay, this is the lesson plan that I created based on the student ability. Like for example, okay, like for example, this one for A student, this one is for B student, that one is for C student. So we plan the assessment, and we plan the quiz or teaching material based on student ability.
So this is one of the things that the trainers share with chemistry. For example, when the student want to describe their observation based on the experiment, they're supposed to use the word no visible ration, but nothing happened. So they emphasize on using the right terms to answer the question. Alright, so yeah, we managed to get this book at a very low price. It just costs us about 56 ringgit, and this is not available yet in Malaysia. And only chemistry and biology can buy, because physics is not out of stock, not available. But it's very, very cheap. Okay? The course book costs us about 100 something, where we buy in Malaysia for about 200 something. Why? So the book in India is kind of cheaper compared to Malaysia.
Some of the activities we did during the training, so it's a sharing session. If you ask the teachers, Indian teachers, they are very different from the teachers from the UK. Where we have training and tailors, we usually meet teachers from UK. But Indian teachers, they are very helpful. They want to share a lot of things. You ask one thing, they explain everything. That is so awesome. So this is what we did. During the trainings, we have to conduct the experiment. So dealing with their apparatus in Mumbai, I kind of feel like, oh, macam nak benda ni, aduh takut je. So it's kind of different from what I have in Intec. So their students dealing with more difficult part in preparing themselves for the exam, and our students are lucky. Okay. So potential networking with the India. Okay, so they plan. I hope we plan exchange program. Just send the student. I don't know if you want to go. I don't want to. There's one physics teachers trying to approach me, saying that there are worldwide student projects where he needs to find students from different parts of the world and do some research about the solar energy, because different part of the world receive different amount of sunlight. So you need the students to collaborate on that, and the certificate will be given by the Cambridge. So I'm still waiting for his email. I hope he didn't forget. Okay, right. So we come to the most interesting part of our experience. Okay, so the other side of Mumbai that we ourselves didn't know. We go there and culture shock. We broke on the first day. We arrived there, literally broke. Doesn't have money. 1 rupee is don't even have. I don't even have 1 rupee. Why? Because the GST is 18%. This is when I bought mineral water. Okay. The reason why we broke on our first day, when we reached to the hotel, want to check in, they asked deposit of 30,000 rupee per room. so it should be 60,000 rupee per room, where each of us only have 12,000 rupee. So malam tu ingat dah kita pergi jalan lah. Tapi alhamdulillah nego, and then we managed to reduce the amount to 20,000 rupee. So I gave away all my money. So that helped me the next day. Okay, and Mumbai needs to deal with the traffic jam. This is basically 7 a.m. in the morning and until late at night. This is the thing. And if you sleep close to the main road, you're going to be disturbed by honking things. Okay, you can't sleep. You won't be able to sleep. Okay, the public transport is kind of nice. This is ladies' coach. You can see it's cozy, it's clean, unlike what you see in the movie. It's nice, but this is on weekend. If we try, go to some place, taking a train on weekday, Wednesday morning, what happened is we are separated. I say the last thing I remember is, Nak, tunggu kat bandara. You can't even squeeze yourself to get in because the auntie basically is like, oh, pagel. I don't know. Really big. Okay, this auntie, pagel is crazy. Okay. Water is very easy to access. I mentioned just now, very cheap, but it's kind of trim. No side mirror you can see, but there's zero chances of getting in accident. And we also had a long walk. On the first day here, basically we walk about 10 kilometers, almost 10 kilometers, just trying to find some food to eat. And we end up eating the bread that we bring from the hotel. And it's already penyek. This is local people. If you go to Mumbai, do not afraid of communicate with the people. They know English. They're nice, very helpful. We get lost. We lost. Okay, we're separated. So I have the Wi-Fi, pocket Wi-Fi, but they don't. So they ask help from the local. They will just help us, and then we meet again. So thankful. Oh my God. I didn't need words to explain this thing. You understand, right? Very cheap, kind of cheap, but we broke. So happening. From us, okay, for the details about the trainings, we will share during the teaching and sharing session, our own subject expert later. Okay, if you have any questions to us or anyone planning to go to Mumbai, feel free to get an advice from us. One more thing that I can tell that can turn our world upside down, probably we didn't manage to catch the flight, is you cannot enter even the gate of the airport if you don't have a copy of the itinerary. No one told us. Luckily we prepare that. Nak masuk airport tu sendiri, kalau tak ada itinerary, tak boleh masuk. So, hampir tak dapat balik pun. Any questions from the floor? Since we didn't try street food, so we're okay. because the spices of the food is mainly masala. And masala is not just spicy, it's hot and spicy. It makes your stomach bubbly. Any other question? Okay. Thank you very much.